What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Shontavia Show, where my goal is to help you start a business based on your life's vision. This ain't gonna be your daddy's business advice. I'm laser focused on entrepreneurship in the 21st century, vision, and breaking the traditional mold. If you can get with that, you can get with me. Be sure to visit shontavia.com for more episodes, blog posts, and other content. Thank you for listening. The show starts now. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Shontavia Show, where I want to inspire you to make more income and impact with entrepreneurship. And I am really excited to have a fellow trademark lawyer on the show with me today. Radiance Harris is here. And Radiance, I'm so excited that you're here. We can talk about trademarks and all the fun stuff. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I want to introduce everybody to you and to your work, and then we can just jump right into the conversation. So, Radiance Harris is an award winning trademark lawyer, a highly sought after speaker. She's an author and an entrepreneur. She's the founder and managing attorney of Radiance IP Law, where she helps small and emerging businesses protect, monetize, and grow their brands with trademarks. And she's represented everybody from startups to multinational corporations across a whole bunch of industries. Radiance has gotten all kinds of awards, including the nation's best advocates, 40 lawyers under 40, which yours truly also got long time ago, and all kinds of other awards from both the state of Maryland and Washington, D.C. And she's been all over the media too. And Radiance has a new book out called Trademark Like a Boss, which I love the title of that book. So we're going to dive into all of that. So Radiance, thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Shontavia.
Yeah, so I'm so curious about your journey. Intellectual property lawyers are hard to find, period. And then, to find a Black woman who practices trademark law is always kind of hard to do. So, what is your story? How did you get into trademark law? How did you get to the point where law was even the route you wanted to go?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer at 15 years old. I didn't know any lawyers before then. I didn't have any lawyers in my family. Growing up, I actually played AAU basketball, and one of my teammates, her father was a big time lawyer. And so I always admired him because he carried himself so well. He was always talking very passionately about what he did. And he looked like he made money. And I was like, let me do that. And so I basically, everything I did from 15 years old all the way up until I graduated from college was to set me up to have a successful legal career. And so that's how I kind of fell into the law. I guess I didn't fall. I actually strategically charted a plan to get into the law. And so that's how I ended up at law school. And I loved law school, had a great time in law school. I'm one of those weirdos who really loved law school. And then once I graduated from law school, I started my career at the time. It was the world's largest law firm, DLA Piper. And I was in the trademark, copyright, and media group there and helping Fortune 200 companies protect their brands and all of that jazz. And as far as I was concerned, my dream job was to work in big law. And I was really much on that partnership track of becoming a big time partner. But after a few years of being there, I realized I wasn't really fulfilled doing that. It didn't feel right. Like I was really looking for freedom and financial freedom and just individual freedom, because I really felt like I couldn't show up authentically every day at the office. So jumping into starting my own law firm, Radiance IP Law, was not in the cards. It wasn't even a part of the plan. And so I ended up just leaving and started a law firm randomly. And then I decided that I wanted to help small businesses instead of the big businesses, big names, because I noticed that there was a lack of education for the small businesses, because I spent a lot of my day sending cease and desist letters, initiating lawsuits against entrepreneurs and small business owners. They lacked the education about the importance and value of trademarks. And so in starting Radiance IP Law, those are who I help, the small and emerging businesses, because I want to help them protect and leverage their brands now so that when they become those big names, watch out, they're already protected and they just can focus on their growth.
I love that. So we have very similar stories in that regard. And I'm wondering about your leaving story. So like when you left the firm, was it like, okay, this is just not what I want to do anymore? Were you like really unhappy, or was it just like the natural progression for you? What was the story of how you left? How did you know it was time?
Yeah, so I was at the first firm I was at. I was there for about 4.5, close to 5 years, and so then I ended up leaving there and going to an intellectual property boutique law firm. So it was a smaller boutique firm, actually founded by former big law partners. So going to that firm, I thought it was going to be something different. I was like, okay, I'm really not feeling the big law. And where I realized it wasn't for me is when I started to get to a certain level of success, my superiors were getting intimidated by that. And so they were almost like not utilizing me to my potential, and meaning I had already showed that I could successfully grow in a certain way, and I was billing over 2,000 hours. I was the head of the diversity chair. I was controlling. I was doing anything and everything to be a superstar, and that started to get intimidating to people. And so it created an uncomfortable work environment for me. And so I ended up leaving, going to a different firm, thinking that, okay, it'd be a little bit different, but ultimately it was the same thing. It was the same feeling. And so what made me know that it was time to go, it's like, it was literally like pulling teeth to get me to go into the office every day. Like, it was just like, oh, I gotta go into the office today. Oh, and it was like that for a few months. And I just knew that because I was like, oh, I wasn't showing up right. Like the work didn't excite me. And so when I left, I actually left without a plan. Like I thought I was done with the law. I thought I was completely done with the law. And so I took a few weeks, months off to just kick it and figure out what the heck I wanted to do. And then I had this like kind of aha epiphany moment where I realized that I very much loved trademarks. I loved what I did. I just was tired of working for somebody else. And so I had to like separate the fact that I wasn't over the law. I was just over doing the law the way others told me to do the law, or working for others and others telling me how much I am worth, how long I need to work at the desk, how I need to show up for work. I was tired of that. So that's when I knew, okay, time to go do my own thing. And people had already said I was very entrepreneurial. Like that was always the feedback I got in my annual reviews. She's so entrepreneurial. So I'm like, well, let me take a stab at this, you know?
So that is a great story, and my goodness, it sounds familiar because we talk a lot on this show about like how you know it's time to leave, because there's so many people who are afraid, or they don't know, and they don't really have a plan. Like I didn't have a plan. I didn't have anything. I just knew it was time to bounce, and I
Yeah,
I
right.
did that. So I love that, like you have that story, and now you've created this successful firm, and you're doing all these different things.
Yeah.
And when you started your firm, like did you have everything figured out? So you said you took some months to kick it and all that. Did you have like the firm figured out, or did you kind of learn as you went along?
I learned as I went along. Like for me, I mean, in terms of starting it, I literally went and filed an LLC. I had my laptop. I got a website done pretty quickly on Wix. And then I sent out an email to everybody I know. And I said, hey, I'm open for business, you know? And so that was the beginning. And then it was just like, I already knew that you needed to network and you need to connect. But I really started by tapping into my own, like the network that I already had, and then built from that. And so I kind of learned as I went, but what really helped me is that like literally within a couple of weeks of launching my firm, I joined a women's entrepreneur mastermind group. So I joined a community of other women who had businesses at different levels. And that really helped me jump over the learning curve very quickly to be able to have like people to tap into. Because often when you start a business, you're a solopreneur, you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. Like your husband don't want to hear it, your friends don't, because they don't have businesses. So I needed that community. And so I started that like within 2 weeks of opening. And I think that helped me big time in terms of learning how to best manage my time and how to be better, more productive during the workday and things like that. And then I've gradually gone to like different level of women's masterminds, but ultimately community was very helpful for me early on to kind of figure out this business thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So I created a community like that for women who are just getting started, who haven't left their jobs yet, but who are wanting to and thinking about it. And
Right.
you're so right. Like you are in it kind of like by yourself, or you feel like you are,
Yes,
but you don't have to be.
you
And I
don't.
think that is very, very smart and intuitive advice for people who are thinking about these things. You do not have to do it by yourself.
No.
Yeah. And so you started your firm. Did you take clients with you, or did you have to build a whole new client base?
No, no clients came because I was making a big switch. I was switching from like the Fortune 200 to like small business. And I knew I also didn't want to do like hourly billing. Like I was so over that billing all the time. So I was like, definitely not doing that. We're going to do a flat fee law firm. And so basically I started from scratch. Like I was starting completely new, no clients, no nothing. I just had to start going out there and hitting the pavement.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so how did you find clients? How did you get to the point where now you have like recurring clients, you have new clients, you have enough
Yeah.
money coming in? How do you build that client base?
Basically I tapped into the people who I knew and the people that they knew and the people that they knew. And so I would say even to this day, about 60% of our clients are from referrals. But it's not just like sitting around and hoping people come and hire you. Like I was always actively utilizing referral marketing. So really tapping into the clients that I did get, tapping into their networks, the people who maybe I went to law school with, tapping into the people they know. Like even a lot of my referrals come from other attorneys who don't do what I do. So that was something that I utilized too. And then gradually started incorporating social media and social media. And so being consistent with posting on social media. And so basically those are the main ways. Like I found like I did all the networking events because people said to do those, but ultimately well, I never really got a lot of clients from going to networking events. My clients were basically from me tapping into people that I know or joining communities of other women entrepreneurs or things like that, and they getting to know me and they're utilizing my business or they referring their business to me or people that they know who need my services over to me. So that's how I have been most successful, leveraging referral marketing and then social meeting, showing up regularly on social media. Because a lot of times on social media, you think, oh, my ideal client aren't on Facebook or my ideal client might not be on LinkedIn, but the people who know your ideal client are on those platforms. And so that's basically what I've done.
So smart. And the core of that is building relationships. So you must be very good at building relationships and also like allowing your personality to build relationships with people online. And that is sometimes the hardest thing to convince like a new entrepreneur that no, you actually can get clients from Instagram or Facebook, right?
Yes.
Right? Like you can build 6, 7, 8 figure businesses just based on
Yes. As
showing
people
up.
say, it goes down in the DMs. Like business is made in the direct message a lot of the times. And so if you're just willing to show up, put yourself out there and just show up authentically, and really, because I feel like you do people a disservice when you're not putting yourself out there and showing them how you can fix a problem that they're having. Like, I think you are just really doing yourself a disservice. So I make sure to get out there because for me, as a trademark attorney, education is so important because a lot of businesses lack an understanding about what a trademark is and why the heck they need it. So I have to do that education piece.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. And I hope I don't like take your whole afternoon because this is one of my favorite topics. Because like you said it perfectly, a lot of times entrepreneurs, especially or content creators, don't realize the value they have in their brands. And so what do you tell people? You mentioned education. Like what are the fundamental things you think entrepreneurs need to know about trademarks?
So basically, all businesses have trademarks. Like every single business has trademarks, but it only has its value when it's protected. Otherwise, it's vulnerable to theft and misuse when it's unprotected. So that's something to keep in mind that people don't realize that, yes, you have a trademark, a potential trademark with your logo, your business name, your product and service names, but you're not protecting it and then leveraging it in different ways. And so in order to create your, I guess, section in the marketplace, that's how that trademarks helps you do that. And what I mean by that is that there are like hundreds and thousands of other people who do exactly what you do, who offer exactly what you offer. So how do you distinguish yourself from your competitors? is with your unique brand. It's with your unique logo. And so when you don't protect it, you are leaving money on the table because you're making it difficult for your prospective clients and customers to find you, to identify you, to know like, so what makes you do, what makes Radiance IP Law different from, you know, Harris law firm or something like that. Like that's the point of a trademark, is that when people put your name in Google, you want to be the only one that comes up so that they can then buy your products or services. You don't want like 20 other people who have a similar name to yours coming up in the search, because now you're making it difficult for your prospective clients and customers to find you and give you their money.
Preach. Yeah. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. You did a great job.
On about that.
Yes. Yeah. So what should people do first? So like if I hear you on the show, I hear you say you have got to protect your brand. You've got to protect your trademark. What are like the first 3 things you think a new entrepreneur, a content creator, somebody thinking about starting a business, what should they do first?
Well, once they come up with a name, you want to come up with like a banging name. You want to come up with a name that really reflects your brand, your mission, your passion, what results you plan on giving your clients. So the name matters. A lot of people don't realize the name matters, the logo matters in your business. And so when you do come up with a name, just don't go get the name and scramble and go take an LLC and then get all the social media and the domain names and think that you're good. You need to make sure, do a trademark search, make sure that that name that you are looking to use is actually available for your use and you're not committing trademark infringement. Because a lot of people think because they go and file an LLC with their state and they're like, oh, it's available in my state, but that they're not doing a trademark search. They'll allow you to basically file for the same business name as somebody else. And the only difference is a matter of one had the and the other one doesn't, because they don't do the assessment about whether there's a trademark infringement issue. So you have to do that, meaning you as the business owner need to make sure that the names that you are adopting and the logos and things of that nature, slogans, products and service names, are not infringing on other people's trademark rights that other people have invested in protecting, because it could actually cost you a lot of money later to then have to rebrand and redo everything. And so that's the number one thing, is like when you choose a name, doing a trademark search on the USPTO website, on the internet, social media, all those places, Amazon, looking to see, is anyone else who's doing anything similar to me? Doesn't even have to be identical, but similar to what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing coaching, is somebody else doing coaching with the same name? Those are some considerations. And so that's the number one thing, is that, because basically the reality is that like 1 out of 3 businesses have to rebrand due to trademark similarity. So you can eliminate that issue from doing it right from the beginning. So then once you know that the name's available, then you should move forward with the trademark process, because then it's like, lucky for you, your name is available. So now let's go and protect it and make sure that you are the exclusive rights owner, so you can legally own it and have protection across all 50 states. It's like a birth certificate for your business. And so when you don't have it, kind of just flapping in the breeze.
Oh, you're exactly right about that. And I would love to talk about rebranding a little more, because I don't think people realize exactly how much that's going to cost if they get it wrong. Gosh. Right. So it's not just, oh, I have to change the name of my business. It's like you have to get a new website. Websites cost what, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. You got to rebrand your business cards. You got to like change so many different things. You are really out of a lot of money.
Yeah, you're basically starting your business. You're starting your business over again. So if you don't want to go through the business restart process again and the investment that goes with that, it's best to do it right the first time, at the beginning, because it's a lot. We're a lot more affordable. Like, people are intimidated by lawyers, but here's the thing: if you're in business, lawyers are your friend, because we can help you avoid costly legal issues. So a lot of people think, oh, I don't hire an attorney until I get into trouble. So that might be true with criminal law and family law, if you're going through a divorce or something like that. But when it comes to a business, you need to have a good old attorney who is a buddy, who's a part of your team, who can help you navigate the legal issues, because that's the reality. Legal issues and tax issues can completely put you out of business.
Yes, they can.
So I don't want that because my clients are mostly small and emerging businesses. So especially as they're growing, I don't want you using your profits to clean up unnecessary legal messes. I'd rather you be proactive, make sure you have your trademarks protected, your copyrights are good, your contracts are straight, so that you can just focus on growing your business and preparing for that future growth.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, so true. So that's the first thing you say people should do. Make sure they do their due diligence with the trademark search, trademark clearance search. What's the next thing they need to do? After they do the search, then what?
Second thing is get a trademark on file. So it's not enough to just do this trademark search and say, oh, nobody's using it. It's important to actually start the trademark process once you've confirmed that the name is available, because what could happen is, and let me give you just a scenario. This is a scenario I see over and over again. A client comes to me and say, hey, I've been using a name since 2015. At that time, I didn't protect it because someone told me I shouldn't protect my trademarks until I start making money. And then they're 2 years later, they're coming to me and saying, hey, there's somebody else using the identical name, doing the identical thing, but they have the US, they went and filed the US trademark application. And so what happens is that now that the junior user has trademark rights in the name, and so now they have nationwide exclusive rights to use the name. And so you only have what would be called common law trademark rights, which are limited to where you are based, geographically where you're based. So if you're in Maryland, as I'm in Maryland, I would only have common law trademark rights in Maryland. And so there's nothing I can do at that point. I can't prevent them from doing it. I can't prevent other people from popping up in other parts of the country. But here's the thing, in today's world where everything is online, whether you have your website, whether you're on social media, so anyone and everyone can see your name and your business, and they can steal it and go about a business, take your business name, and you wouldn't have any recourse for doing that. And so that's the importance of doing a trademark application, getting it on file so that you have that presumption of ownership.
Yes, also great advice. And as people are doing that, and I have this conversation with so many people, at what point should a person talk to a lawyer? Should they talk to the lawyer when they're ready to file the application, when they choose the name, when they register the business? When do you think a new business owner, new entrepreneur should reach out to an IP lawyer, especially a trademark lawyer?
At the beginning. So I'm thinking about starting a business, and here are what my goals are. Talk to an attorney at that time. Because even though you might not, let's say you have only enough to afford the consultation or whatever, that still knowledge is so important, because at that point, we as lawyers can educate you and create a legal action plan for you. Like, okay, here where you are, here's where you want to be in the next 24 months. Here's what you need to do legally to make sure your ducks are in a row, as you start your business. And so it's best to do it sooner rather than later. Like, don't wait until something happens, because it's going to be a lot more expensive to clean up messes. And so that's what I would recommend doing. Hey, I'm at the very beginning stages, or I'm thinking about starting a business. That's the time to speak with an attorney and at least have a conversation with them and find out how much would this stuff cost? Because a lot of people just automatically fear that it's going to be too expensive, and so they just don't even take the step. So I would just say, just take the step and schedule a call. Like, just schedule a call. There's some attorneys who, do free consultations. I don't, but mine are very affordable. We have very affordable calls, but you will at least have an idea of what you need to do, as you grow your business.
Yes, I love that you brought that up, money, right? Because this is what a lot of people don't take any steps. They assume it's going to be cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily asking for your rates, but I would love to talk about what you think is reasonable, like a new person sitting down talking to a lawyer, consultation fees, or like from your perspective, how much it costs to actually get a trademark and maintain a trademark.
So I guess for an initial, and different attorneys rate. So like for an initial consultation with like a business attorney, there's some people who don't charge anything for like a 15, 20-minute call. And then there's those who might charge for like a 15, 20-minute call, they might charge like $100. If you're looking at something more of a deep dive, so let's say a 30-minute to an hour consultation, you could be looking at anywhere from between, maybe $250 to $600. It just varies. It just depends on the specialty of the attorney and what's included and all that. So that's what you can anticipate for at least an initial conversation. As far as the trademark process is concerned, You know, the DIYers, if you try to DIY the process, your main fees will be the filing fees to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. You have to pay them, and you have to pay per trademark class that you're actually filing the application in. So it could be as low as, well, actually the USPTO is raising their fees, their trademark fees in January. So let's say as of January, your filing fees could be as low as $275 per class, or as high as like $325 per class. But if you hire an attorney, attorneys, I mean, it kind of fluctuates as to what they charge, because some attorneys just charge you for the initial search and the filing, but then they're going to charge you extra for the rest of the process. There are some attorneys who charge you for just the entire process. It's all inclusive. And so you could see I've seen ranges from like $1,000 to $3,000. It just kind of depends what's included. And that's just for that's for the trademark.
Yeah. So I think on average, what INTA has said, that what is it, International Trademark Association, well, they've done like research and reports on this every year, and they estimate like 2,200, which I think is probably about right. That
is about right. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and you brought up too another thing that I constantly have to educate people about, which is fine, which is what I love to do. But the process, so it's not like you file the application and you get your trademark stamp the next day and you're ready to go. So could you talk just a little bit about what people can expect when they file a trademark application and how long it takes and all that?
Right. So on average, the trademark process takes about 10 months on average. Some can register as quickly as 8 months. Others, it might take a few years to register if it was filed based on an intent to use, but you can anticipate at least on average 10 months. The process usually entails, at least with working with us, you do the initial trademark search, we provide a legal opinion, then you prepare and file the trademark application. Then within 3 to 4 months, you're kind of just waiting. You're just like waiting until the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office assigns your trademark application to an examining attorney. So at the 3-4 month mark, it'll be assigned to someone at the USPTO. They'll review your application. They'll see, are there any issues with your application that need to be addressed in order for it to proceed into registration? If there are, they'll issue what's called an office action, to which you have 6 months to respond to. So sometimes this office action might address like really quick tweaks, like, oh, you need to tweak this in your identification of goods and services, or you need to disclaim this word because it's descriptive, or something like that. Or it might be more substantive, like a likelihood of confusion refusal, a descriptiveness refusal, does not function as a trademark refusal, to which you need to actually do legal research and draft like a legal brief and argument to get around it. So it can vary. And so assuming you're able to overcome whatever office actions come your way, then the next phase is the publication period. And so this is essentially when the USPTO publishes your trademark for opposition in the Trademark Gazette. So that just means for a 30-day period, any third parties who think that they'll be harmed by the registration of your trademark can oppose your trademark. And an opposition is essentially an administrative proceeding before the U.S. Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. And so it's like litigation, but it's not determining your right to use. It's only determining your right to register the trademark. But it can be just as expensive as litigation. Assuming you get through the opposition period, then if your application was filed based on an intent to use, you have to file your statement of use with trademark evidence, evidencing that you are using the trademark as you've filed for it. And that's the step you have right before registration. If you filed your application based on use, so meaning you claimed at the beginning that I've already been using it, you submitted your application with your evidence with the application and your date of first use, then after the opposition period, it goes to registration. So you see, it's quite a lot of moving parts in the process.
Yes, it is deceivingly complicated.
Yes.
If you are not familiar with the process. And you've written a book to help demystify some of this. Trademark Like a Boss. Could you talk about Trademark Like a Boss and who it's for and what
Yeah,
it?
sure. Yes, a few months ago, I was called to like write this book. I love trademarks. I've been doing it for over a decade now. I have all this knowledge, and I felt like I wanted to write a book to not only educate people who wanted to learn more about trademarks, but to provide a user-friendly, fun to read guide to those who maybe couldn't afford to hire an attorney like myself, who wanted to take a stab at the trademark process. And so throughout the book, I identify different steps throughout the process, provide little tips and strategies to think about. It includes templates and worksheets and guides and all kinds of education. So it's definitely a user-friendly guide that can be used to walk you step by step through the US federal trademark registration process. And so far I've received very great feedback on it. It was a #1 Amazon bestseller on opening day, which I'm very excited about. So I'm just really, my focus is to help basically those entrepreneurs and business owners who are bootstrapping and really just trying to get their business off the ground, understand that legal is important, but maybe they just don't have the money right now to hire an attorney like myself. So that's who this book is for.
Oh man, I'm excited to learn about this book because for years, like you buy the names that lawyers buy,
Yeah.
and I never see myself. I never see people of color. I never see references that even just like make sense
I
outside of.
know.
So I'm excited that this book exists for so many reasons. Congratulations. That
Thank
is
you so much.
dope. So where can people get the book? Where can we find it?
So the book is available on Amazon. So you can buy the Kindle version or the paperback on Amazon.com. However, if you're interested in getting a signed copy from me, you can purchase through my website, radianceiplaw.com/book.
Great, 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 great. That is phenomenal. So you've got this trademark practice, you've got the book, you're a lawyer entrepreneur. What is the hard part of doing all of this? Because you just dropped a lot of information. I know you do this with your clients. What's the hardest part of the journey? Because obviously you know the substance part, but what has been difficult, if anything, about having your own brand, your own business, and all this?
The hardest part is about staying focused on doing things your way. And what I mean by that is that there's so many distractions out there. There's so many, like you might be trying to see what are my competitors doing out there, or like, oh, what does this successful business coach tell me I should be doing, and all these things. And so you should definitely, keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities, but ultimately you need to run a business and create a lifestyle that is true to you and who you are. And so for me, that has been my focus, is that I knew at the beginning, like I wanted to create a certain lifestyle for myself. I wanted to have freedom for myself. And so my advice is basically to just continue to focus on your why. Like, why did you start the business? And create a lifestyle and a business that you want, not that you think you want because you see other people doing it a certain way. Because we can get like, oh, I want that, but then you don't really want that. Like a lot of times you might see, she's got a mansion, a huge mansion, but you realize maybe you don't want that. You want money, but you don't want to have a mansion because that's not what you value. You value experiences. And for me, I'm always having to remind myself, like, girl, this is not about materialism. This is about creating a lifestyle and experience for myself and my family. And so that's the main thing that I have struggled with, is like staying true to myself throughout this business journey. It's going to be hard. There have been hard times. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And you have to kind of constantly remind yourself why you're doing this, and continue to pour in positivity, surround yourself with positive people who understand the journey that you're on. That I would say is the main thing you have to do and focus on, because there are a lot of distractions.
That that right there is a sermon. That right there, you could preach that in a church. That is a sermon right there. 'Cause I struggle with this, with like websites and social media content and like the way things look. There's so many, like shiny things on the internet,
So many shiny things.
yeah, but I have to remind myself, like, stay in your lane. This is you. You do you. Let them do. You don't know if those people are happy. if they even are actually doing the things they claim to be doing.
Exactly. All the above.
Yeah. That's it. That is it. That is it. So what's the future of your business look like? So you've got a great foundation, you've got clients, you've got the book, you've got all these things going on. What is next? What's the future look like?
The future is that I'm going to continue to do what I do, and that's like spreading the importance and mission of making trademarks accessible for all businesses. And so continue to grow my business. I'm going to continue to grow the Trademark Like a Boss book and brand. And my main focus is becoming a 7-figure law firm. And so that's basically what I've been focused on.
Beautiful, 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 Radiance. So where can people find you online if they want to work with you? And I know you mentioned where we can get the book, but remind people where they can get the book from too.
Sure. So check out my website if you're interested in scheduling a call or learning more about our services. It's www.radianceiplaw.com. You can also purchase my book on the website as well, radianceiplaw.com/book. On social media, feel free to follow me on IG at Radiance Harris ESQ and connect with me on LinkedIn at Radiance Harris.
Great. And the book can be found on your website and on Amazon.
Correct. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Radiance. This has been so much fun. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Shontavia. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Shontavia Show. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment wherever you're listening. You can find me on social media everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and wherever else at Shontavia J ESQ. You can also visit me at shontavia.com to find a transcript of this episode, along with other show notes. While you're there, please be sure to subscribe to my email newsletter. The information shared in this podcast and through my other platforms is designed to educate you about business and entrepreneurship, and I love to do this work. While I am a lawyer, though, the information I provide is not legal advice and does not create or constitute an attorney-client relationship. The Shontavia Show is a Leverage original. The show is recorded on site in South Carolina and produced at Sit and Spin Studio in Greenville, South Carolina. Original music and sound design is by Matt Morgan and Daniel Gregory.